Good morning and welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker. We have a great show planned for you today. If you missed our show last week, we had Mike Law, the owner of Saturday's Waffle. He has a local food truck, amazing food. And we also had Pat Crowley with Chapul, a local business owner that recently landed, I think, a $100,000 deal with Mark Cuban on the Shark Tank. So great show last week. If you missed the show last week, check it out on our Facebook page. That's www.facebook.com/Womack Radio. Again, that's facebook.com/Womack Radio. We have all our past shows on there. You can go and check it out. Previous interviews with local professionals. We bring you the timely truths for real estate and finance. We want to help you save money, invest those savings, and make money on your investments. Today we've got our first guest on the show is Kyle Aiken. He's a local real estate photographer, does amazing work. He recently took some photos for a listing of mine out in Pleasant Grove and does awesome work. Kyle, it's great to have you on the show today.
No, yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me.
So tell me about yourself, Kyle.
Well, I would say I'm an adventurous guy. Like to go outdoors, hiking, camping, fishing, hunting, shooting. I like to do, I guess, on the edge type of stuff. Like, I used to play paintball professionally, and I'm doing tennis tournaments now, but...
Tennis tournaments?
Yeah, it's hard.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. And tell me about your paintballing experience. You were a pro?
I mean, I didn't fly out to, Vegas or Huntington Beach or anything like that, but I played, locally, a couple tournaments and won a decent amount of money, I guess. But, yeah, I still have welts on my back still scarred, so.
Did you get some scars from it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Paintballing can leave some welts. I didn't know it would leave some permanent scars.
Well, it was point blank, and I didn't have a shirt on, so.
Paintballing with no shirt?
Yeah, it was 2 against 18, I think, for work.
Why no shirt? Just because?
Yeah, I was like, okay, if you're man enough, let's take off your shirt, and then it was just me and one other guy.
Just to live on the edge?
Yep.
So are you a local Utah guy?
Yeah, born and raised Utah native.
Another local professional on the show. We support local business. We're all about having local professionals here. And Kyle does amazing work. He's a photographer. So tell me about your photography business.
I started the company about 7 months ago. It's pretty crazy. I need to start hiring photographers here pretty soon. But I mean, I'm planning on franchising it into different states. Want to get more into architectural photography and whatnot. I do a lot of video tours too. So a lot of that ends up on ABC4 with J. Deere Real Estate Essentials.
Oh yeah.
So it's fun to turn on ABC4 and see my stuff on there. So.
Yeah, and tell me the name of your company.
Home Tour Company.
Home Tour Company, and You're the owner and founder of it?
Yep.
And business has been booming since you started.
Oh, yes.
Do you do Salt Lake County mostly, or do you do kind of all over?
I do all over. I went down to St. George for the Utah Parade of Homes down there. I've been up to Pineview Reservoir. We have a 300-acre, $4 million listing that I need to make look amazing. So that's been fun. I don't feel like I'm working at all. I just get to play with cameras all day, and then at night I get to go edit and listen to music and have fun. So
what's your photography background? What made you want to get into real estate photography?
I mean, I took a class just for fun, TV broadcasting, and we would go and film cute music videos and stuff like that. And then so I can do photography and videography as well. So I mean, ever since then, it's just I would just get a camera and do it for a hobby, go hiking and, take pictures of flowers or whatever, landscapes. But yeah.
Very cool. Much. Yeah, like I said, Kyle does great work. So what tell me a little bit about the equipment you use and a little bit about a typical shoot that you do.
Typical shoot goes pretty fast. The first shoot was it was hours. It was of, a $4.5 million log cabin. I was kind of still learning what to do, but that took forever. But I can start getting it down to your house. I did about 30 minutes. And then the equipment that I use is just a single DSLR camera, professional. nice glass, nice lenses that I use. I use a technique called, you know what HDR is?
No.
High dynamic range. So what I basically do is I'm taking 3 photos, overexposed, underexposed, and then a perfectly exposed picture, and then I combine them into one.
Ah.
Versus my competition, they're using flash, which if you don't know how to use it, then it's not going to look good. So all my photos are going to just be bright. I have all that information to play with to make it brighter, or, you know, turn up the shadows so there's not really harsh shadows. So
yeah, that's what I really noticed about the photos that I've seen on your website and the ones you took from my listing, is they all had the perfect amount of brightness. Yeah. Shows the home off really well.
That pops on the MLS.
Yeah.
And that's what you need.
Makes the home look better than it actually does. It gets people there.
It does. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because one of my agents, like, somebody came over to his open house and they're like, yeah, this house doesn't look like the photo. And so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I mean, you can tell it's good to sell the home. I mean, you want to show the home on its best leg and put your best foot forward when you're showing it. So I think it's awesome. And a lot of my clients really want a professional photographer. In the past, I would just go in with my little digital camera and snap shots, and just doesn't show well on the MLS. I think it's just so important to get a professional in there that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
So tell me about some of your favorite homes that you shot.
Probably the most favorite was one up in Olympus Cove. It was a 15,000 square foot house. I don't think it's ever been completed, because I guess like they ran out of money or something. But anyways, it was just beautiful. I was filming in there, and it was just, the views were gorgeous, and like the sun's going down, and like it's just a whole nother world to live in that house.
We're talking here with Kyle Aiken. He's a local real estate photographer, has his own business, does amazing work. We got to take a quick break, but stay with us. We'll be back. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker.
The sky was red, fire on the mountain, she said.
Welcome back. This is Clint Womack with the Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker. If you haven't checked us out on Facebook, it's facebook.com/Womack Radio. We've got previous shows on there. We've got fun pictures of our guests that come on. And we also do free giveaways. We have a free lunch giveaway coming up later in the show, so stay tuned with us. Right now we're talking with Kyle Aiken, a local Utah guy, local professional, does amazing real estate photography and videography. So Kyle, tell me a little bit more about this 15,000 square foot home you shot. How long did it take, and what were some of your favorite parts about it?
It took a long time. I wasn't expecting it to take about like maybe 5 hours. It sold 5 hours in that house.
Were you doing photos and video?
Just video.
Just video.
And I was trying, some lights and some new lights. I should just get a better lens to use that instead of lights. But it's fun because, Old Mill Offices?
Yeah.
The guy that owns Old Mill Offices came in there, and he was walking with his agent that represented him. And he was walking around, and then I kind of like chit-chatted with him. And then I actually picked him up as a client.
Oh, nice.
He's like, oh, yeah, come down and do some stuff for my, offices. I'm like, what offices? He's like, Old Mill. I'm like, oh, okay, let's do that.
Those are pretty big.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So you've been doing some commercial real estate, too.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So tell me, video is pretty big data. How do you, do you do that, or how do you shrink down the size or get it on the web so that it's viewable?
I mean, I have, a computer that has about 3 terabytes, which isn't enough. It's almost filled up, so I need to get more. But I mean, I'm shooting in 1080p, but I want to upgrade. You know what 4K is?
Yeah, the new ultra high definition $5,000 or $6,000 TVs over at Costco that I drool over every time I go through.
Yeah, that's when I want to upgrade to. But nobody's ready for it to do it.
Yeah, there's not very many TVs and filters for that or to distribute it.
What you can do though is you can take that 4K signal and convert it into a 1080p. So you still have, it's still a little bit better than 1080p because you're capturing all that raw data. And plus, you can put it on YouTube. Link it to your account. YouTube is still going to display that 4K.
Oh, YouTube will display 4K. I guess it'll depend on the person's internet connection on how well it comes across, right?
Yeah, you'll be waiting for it to render for a long time if you have really bad internet.
We need to get Google Fiber out here.
Yes, we do. We do.
They have it down in Provo. I'm pitching for it here in Salt Lake City. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, that would be sweet. I'm looking forward to it.
So do you use a separate equipment for the video and then separate for the photos, or is it all the same camera?
Same camera, but once I get a little bit more business, get a little bit more money to invest, I want a separate camera and then a separate, camera to take pictures and then a separate video camera too, because they both have different stuff.
So like on your video, is it like what's the brand of the camera that you use for the video?
The one I want to get for it just came out. It's a Panasonic Luminex GH4. I mean, if you go on Google and you do comparisons between like a Canon 5D Mark III, which is a $3,300 camera, the Luminex is only like a $1,600 camera, and it shoots 4K. And it's leaps and bounds, what was it, a 5D Mark III? It's like leaps and bounds over that.
Over the other one.
And it's like the money, it's like, $1,633, it's like, yeah.
Well, we got to get you more business. Yeah. If you're out there and if you have any questions about photography, specifically real estate photography, residential, commercial, Kyle Aiken's your man. Give us a call at 801-674-9995. We'll get you in touch with Kyle. He can answer any questions that you have and set up a photo shoot for you if you have something that you need to shoot. So do you do other photography besides real estate, or is that all you're doing right now?
A lot of agents ask me if I do profile shots, which I need to get into. Maybe because what I do now is a free photo shoot, 8 photos for free. Maybe I should add in you'll get a free headshot as well. So I need to practice on that, but you get involved into flashes and backgrounds and different pricing. So yeah, it might come here pretty soon. So
do you have a studio that you shoot at, or is it mostly just because you're doing the real estate, you're just going on site?
A lot.
Driving a lot and doing a lot of computer work.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What kind of computer do you have, out of curiosity?
I have a 2008 Mac Pro.
Mac Pro, okay.
It has a dual quad core processor. So it has 8 processors to handle the work.
And 3 terabytes.
3 terabytes. What it runs on is a 240 solid state drive. So that's like Photoshop loads within 3 or 4 seconds.
Top of the line stuff.
Not top of the line. It's a little bit older,
but still gets the job done.
It does.
I've heard Macs are a lot better than PCs for your line of work.
It's personal preference. I know my TV shows uses a PC.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about the TV show. So what was the TV show that a lot of your stuff gets on?
It's J. Deere Real Estate Essentials. So he has 2 time slots now, so we're actually getting really good ratings for our time slot. He just has a little dream team of landscapers and builders that he has, and then he shows off his, Parade of Homes and all these beautiful multi-million-dollar listings and whatnot. But yeah, he's doing pretty good. I'm excited.
Yeah, so is he one of your clients then?
Yeah, I picked him up a long time ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Again, this is Kyle Aiken. We're talking with Kyle Aiken. If you have any questions for him about real estate photography or videography, please give us a call at 801-674-9995. Again, that's 801-674-9995. We'll get you in touch with Kyle, and he can walk you through all the specifics of real estate photography and videography. So, Kyle, tell me a little bit about what are some of the questions that come up for people that might be on the fence about hiring a professional to do their photography?
Probably the biggest thing is price. I found out that a lot of real estate agents are cheap, and it makes sense because you have to pay out of pocket, and you don't get that money back. You don't get that return unless you sell the property. Mm-hmm. Some people, they struggle with the listing, or if they don't, it just depends on the listing. But that's probably the biggest thing is price. And I mean, it's worth it. I mean, if you can get that one photo to pop on the MLS, if you're a good enough real estate agent and you can close them, then that's what you need. Well
worth the investment.
Well worth it.
Yeah, and I highly recommend, Kyle. I have a new listing out in Pleasant Grove. It's out on Valley View Drive in Pleasant Grove, and Kyle did the photography, and we've had 2 to 3 showings a day. The photos look great, and we got an offer within a couple days on the market. So I know that professional photos make a difference. And just like anything you do, like we talk about every week on this show, it's so important to have professionals in all aspects of your financial portfolio, whether it's your real estate, your financial planning, your accounting, your real estate photos if you're going to sell your home. It's so important that you get the best professionals, and that's what we're all about, connecting you with the best professionals here in Salt Lake City to save money, invest those savings, and make money on those investments. Kyle, any words of parting wisdom for listeners out there?
Yeah, so to all the real estate angels, a virtual tour is with slideshows. A video tour is actually video.
Why would you recommend video over just a slideshow?
I wouldn't recommend it. It's just people, they get that mixed up all the time because, with a package, you get a virtual tour. And so when I, pitch them a video tour and they're like, oh, it's just a bunch of pictures in the slideshow. I'm like, no, that's a virtual tour. So it's really confusing. So just the differences between that.
What's the price difference between a photo shoot and a video shoot?
So a photo shoot at the very lowest would be 10 photos for about $79, and you get that slideshow. And then a video tour would be for like a 3,000 square foot house, 1 to 2 minutes long, would start at $249. That includes all your editing and the music. I have to use royalty-free music, and then I can link that to the MLS for you too. For $249, then it goes up if you have like a 15,000 square foot house. Then it goes up pretty high.
But the commission's also higher too to offset that.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, great to have you on the show, Kyle. Thanks so much for coming on and being with us today.
Oh yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Yep. Again, if you haven't checked out our Facebook page, it's facebook.com/Womack Radio. We've got previous shows on there, pictures of all our guests, more information about the show and some of the other professionals that we recommend. Again, that's facebook.com/Womack Radio. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM. We were just speaking with Kyle Aiken, a local professional. He's a local real estate photographer and videographer. Our next guest on the show is Elanor Divver. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you said it right.
Okay, good. Elanor, it's great to have you on the show.
Thanks.
So Elanor works for the state of Utah. She also teaches over at the University of Utah in environmental studies. She specializes in radon and other environmental aspects of living. Tell me about yourself, your teaching background and things like that.
So I teach at the University of Utah and have taught Introduction to Public Health and Environmental Health for a lot of years, and also am with the State Department of Environmental Quality, and I am the State Radon Project Coordinator. So just help people to make sure that they know a little bit about radon and test their homes for radon so that they protect themselves from lung cancer.
Yeah, is radon a big deal in Utah?
It is a big deal. We see about 1 in 3 homes with high levels of radon. So high levels, what does that mean?
Yeah.
You might wonder. So the only way to know if you have high levels in your home is to test. And it's a really simple, easy test. And I think that people don't realize that often, and inexpensive. So for $10, and you can go to our website, which is www.radon.utah.gov, and order a radon test kit for $8. That is a Utah grant that we have, so residents of Utah are able to get that cost. And order a radon test kit from start to finish. It should take about 2 weeks. They will mail that out to you for the $8 charge, and you'll put it in your home for 48 hours and then mail it in, and they'll send you back your results.
How long does it take to get the results back?
It takes about 5 to 7 days. You'll have the results.
So it sounds like that's maybe supplemented by the state, because that's a pretty inexpensive cost.
Really inexpensive. It is a contract that we work out. Of course, we go out to bid, and with all of the different labs that do the radon testing. And so it's just the best bid that we got for the state.
Yeah.
That's a great cost.
That's great.
Because if you were to go to Lowe's or Home Depot, which is also a great way to do it and a little bit quicker, it's about $30.
How do you do those? You buy it, you put the test up for 48 hours, and then you mail it off to a lab?
Right. It's the exact same thing as what we sell on our website, although it's just that you can go to the store, pick it up yourself. So it's a little bit quicker. So in real estate transactions, the other important thing to know is that we're seeing it in almost every transaction. I don't know.
Radon testing.
Yeah, radon testing.
Yeah, and a lot of inspectors they have their own equipment. It's like high tech.
Right. So
machine.
What they're doing is called a continuous radon monitor. And so they have special equipment, like you say, that needs to be calibrated yearly to make sure that they're getting good test results. And they're going to put it in the home for 48 hours as well. And they are going to get a reading every 4 hours as to what the levels are, so that we can see within a 48-hour time period what the readings were every 4 hours. And then it's going to average those readings and tell us what the results are. And so it's a quicker way for a realtor to get his home. The
results
inspected.
back, because there's always deadlines. You have inspection deadlines and things. Yeah. Sometimes you can't wait to mail it off to a lab.
And that cost is going to be more around $200.
Yeah, $100 to $200 for a radon test. Mm-hmm. I've heard that, can the weather affect a radon reading?
The weather absolutely can affect the reading. We really recommend, first off, I should mention, we really recommend that you test in the winter. Winter is the very best time, because you don't have your windows open. You're not opening your doors as much.
So the fresh air coming through.
You're going to get a more accurate reading. But also, like, we had this amazing, great rainstorm yesterday, and that would have probably increased your reading a little bit, because just the pressure within the home will actually pull a little bit more radon gas into the home because of the weather pressure outside, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I remember talking to an inspector, and he said that some of their newer machines can actually sense a storm, or they plug it into the internet or something, and it can calibrate the results based on the weather during the time that the test was running.
Sure.
So is that busy for you, working at the state and then also teaching up at the U?
We are so busy. We're thrilled. I mean, that's great to make sure that people are learning and knowing about radon and testing their homes.
Radon's ultra important. It should be tested in every real estate transaction. I'm a local realtor with Vintage Realty, and I recommend it to every single one of my clients. It's your safety. It's important. We're talking here with Elanor Divver. We've got to take a quick break, but stay with us. We have a free lunch giveaway coming up later on in the show, and we'll continue our conversation with Elanor after the break. Thanks for staying with us. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker.
The sky was red, fire on the mountain, she said.
Welcome back. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show. If you haven't liked us on Facebook, you better get on there and like us on our Facebook page. It's facebook.com Womack Radio. We have previous shows on there, pictures, and lots of great info. Again, it's facebook.com/Womack Radio. Our current guest on the show is Elanor Divver. She works with the state of Utah in the environmental section, and then also teaches up at the University of Utah. You were saying how busy that is. Tell me a little bit about your schedule with both teaching and working at the state.
So with the state, we have a part-time position for radon, which probably isn't quite enough. I mean, that's a pretty big job with just 20 hours a week. And then I also teach at the University of Utah. So it definitely fills up my schedule and keeps me pretty busy.
Yeah. So at the state, it's radon.utah.gov.
Yes.
And do you just do radon with the state, or do you do other things as well?
Radon. I mean, of course, we get into a few questions about other indoor air pollutants and work with green and healthy homes and that kind of thing, but mostly is the radon that we're working with.
Is there a department at the state for like mold and mildew and other environmental concerns?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly will take care of those kinds of things, but typically those questions are either sent up to air quality or to a county, the county health department, or green and healthy homes for mold and asbestos and those kinds of things. So
when it comes to radon, you're the expert.
Yes, I am.
Elanor is the expert. If you have any radon questions, any at all, please call us at 801-674-9995. We'll get you in touch with Elanor to answer all of your radon questions or concerns. Again, that's 801-674-9995. So you teach up at the U. Tell me about what you teach up there.
So I teach a class titled Community Health Issues, which is essentially an introduction to public health, and then also an environmental health class, and then also healthy lifestyles, and just looking at how to live a healthier life as you go into your world.
Health and wellness.
Yep, absolutely.
Everyone needs a little more of that.
So important.
Yeah. So environmental concerns like radon, but also just living healthily and making good decisions.
Absolutely. And testing your home for radon is such a good decision. I'm going to tell a little story.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm working with a family right now that they moved here 20 years ago. And when they moved here, and 20 years ago, a lot of people didn't know very much about radon. And so they were moving, though, with a company, and the moving company required that they get their home tested for radon. And the results came back at 6.7 picocuries, and the allowable level set by EPA is 4 picocuries. So
is that ultra elevated or just slightly elevated?
6.7 is only really slightly elevated.
Uh-huh.
And the family who owned the home said, well, what do you think if we retest the home? Let's do a second test and make sure that it is elevated. And they said, well, all right. And they retested the home, and they reported it in at 3.7 picocuries, so below the allowable level.
Yeah.
And they moved into the home, said, okay, never thought about radon again until 20 years later, when the stay-at-home mom, was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer.
Oh, my gosh.
And so they came to me and they said, how can we retest the home? And I explained what we've already talked about here today. And they retested the home. And sure enough, that home came in at 6.7 picocuries. So by being exposed to 6.7 picocuries, she's smoking about almost a pack of cigarettes per day.
Same type of exposure.
Right. And a couple things that we do know from an example like this is the cancer specialist can look at her type of cancer, and it's the type of cancer that we see in people who have been exposed to radon and also never smoked. She's young. She is in her 40s.
Oh, my goodness.
Stage 4 lung cancer. And
stage 4 is the highest stage, right?
Correct.
Like the most advanced form of cancer. Right. Is there any type of treatment for lung cancer?
Lung cancer is a little bit of a tricky cancer because just as with any cancer, there can be markers where you can go in and possibly some of your different chemo and radiation can have markers, and it will be really successful. Mm-hmm. And that is the good news for this particular family. But it still is a challenging, difficult cancer to have, as
any cancer is. Yeah. What made her go in and get checked out? Was she starting to get really sick when she found out that she had cancer?
She was just having really significant health issues and just tired all the time. And so when she went in to the hospital, they just ran multiple tests and discovered the cancer, the lung cancer.
No, that's too bad to hear. Did they have kids too?
Yeah.
Any other people in the family that?
No, the thing you have to remember too is that she was a stay-at-home mom, and so she was exposed to the higher levels for a longer period of time than the rest of the family. The kids would go to school during the day, and she was home more than not home. So she was exposed to the higher levels.
Is it something where you're kind of more exposed if you're sleeping down in the basement versus the main level, or is it going to be?
We always want to test our basements and our lowest living level of the home. And the basement, we will see the higher results in, typically. Not to say, though, some people say, well, I don't have a basement, so I don't need to test. And that's definitely not true either. Even if you're slab on grade, we still need you to test for radon, because we've seen results of 26 picocuries.
That's pretty elevated.
Now, that's pretty elevated. That's like smoking 2.5 packs of cigarettes.
You'll get pretty sick.
Yeah, can be the case. I mean, everyone's out there taking a risk and taking a chance, but definitely at those elevated levels, you're taking a risk, a really big risk to contract lung cancer. So, but yes, you will want, if you're sleeping in the basement, definitely recommend testing your home. And to hear that you recommend to clients that they test their home for radon, I think is so important. I have a girlfriend who just bought a home, and she said what sold me on my realtor was she told me to test my home for radon. She said all of a sudden I felt like I could trust her, like completely confident in her, that she was concerned about my family and me and not just the cell. And she was concerned about radon and testing it. So
yeah, it's so important. It's a preventative measure, like brushing your teeth or doing something else. It's something that you can measure for and something that you can protect against.
And I should mention, too, that the cost, it's a pretty simple mitigation. It's about $1,200 to $1,500 to mitigate. And we are working with different groups so that if a low-income family finds that they have elevated levels, they are able to have different groups come in and fix the problem.
So tell me about the remediation process. Is it like a blower and tubes that they're installing in the home?
Essentially, I mean, they are taking simply put, PVC piping with a fan, and that ultimately pulls the radon gas out from underneath the home out into the outdoor ambient air.
So they might need to drill out or do something with the concrete down in the basement.
Absolutely. They'll typically need to drill a hole in that concrete. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So we have some pamphlets here. It's called Radon in My Home. It's excellent source of information. If you'd like one of these free pamphlets, give us a call at 801-674-9995 or text the word radon to 801-674-9995. We'll make sure to get you one of these free pamphlets. Tell us a little bit about the information that's in these pamphlets here.
And also, I have free radon test kits for you, too.
Oh,
so if
nice.
I think I brought you at least 10. So if anyone would like a free radon test kit, we'll just, you could mail that out to them, or we're happy to mail it out to them, and then they could just fill out the information. We can get them out a test kit.
If you want a free test kit, text the word free test kit to 801-674-9995. We'll make sure to mail you a free radon test kit. One of the advantages of listening to the show here. So say someone buys a home, they test the levels at 2 picocuries or whatever the measurement is. Is it a good idea to test that several years later just to make sure that it's at the same level?
Question. So we recommend every 5 years, and the reason why is homes settle. different things can happen within the home to change those radon levels. If you do any kind of remodeling, you'll for sure want to do a test. I have another story where a woman did do a remodel and had tested her home before the remodel. It was well below the 4 picocurie reading, and then they did the remodel. And after the remodel, it came in at 25 picocuries.
Wow.
And the reason they discovered the 25 picocuries is the same story as before, is the stage 4 lung cancer.
Oh, my
And
goodness.
so after 15 years, she had been exposed to that.
Because that's a high level.
That's a really high level. Absolutely.
We've got to take a quick break. We've got a free lunch giveaway coming up after the break. And we'll talk a little bit more here with Elanor Divver about radon and overall safety. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back after the break. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker.
The sky was red, fire on the mountain, she said.
Welcome back. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM. We are so grateful that you've joined us today. We've had a great conversation with Kyle Aiken earlier about real estate photography and videography. We've got Elanor Divver on the show. She teaches up at the University of Utah about radon and about environmental factors and overall health and wellness. And she also works at the state, and the state has a radon department. It's radon.utah.gov. She's a radon expert. She has stories, both good and bad. I'm sure the good stories you don't really know because you're testing, but the bad stories are radon could eventually lead to lung cancer. And that's what we're trying to prevent and get the word out and protect you and your family against something that can be measured. So tell me a little bit more. You had a family that had a low level. Normally they did a remodel, and then 15 years later, they find out that someone has stage 4 lung cancer.
Right. And so it was a similar story to the one I mentioned before. They did a remodel, and same thing, it wasn't in a basement. It was just a room in the back of the home. It was up in the East Sandy area, just there at the mouth of the canyon. And they just built out a room, but what it did was it changed the whole composition of how the radon was being pulled in through the home. And so come to find out, when she went in and was diagnosed with the stage 4 lung cancer, they retested the home and it came back at the 25 picocurie level, which we talked about is probably 2.5 packs of cigarettes per day.
Wow. So anytime you make a change to a home, even if you're not making changes, every 5 years, it's recommended.
5 years is highly recommended.
It's worth the $8 test to check out your home and make sure that your family's safe. Any other recommendations that you have about radon or questions that come up frequently?
We get lots of questions. People are interested. They come to us and they say, we live in this neighborhood. Am I likely to have radon? And so on our web page as well, you can go to zip codes, test results by zip codes, and look that up. But I almost hesitate. It's kind of a fun tool to look up your zip code and see how many tests have been run and the highs and the average, and then kind of percentages above 4 and percentages below 4. But the key really is that you have to test your home. We had a Eagle Scout do a project out in Mapleton. And it was so interesting to see the results, because in this little neighborhood, he got 300 homes to test, which is quite amazing. And
all in the same neighborhood?
Yeah, all in the same neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And one home tested at 3.3. The house next to it was 7.8. The house next to that was 2 point something. The next one was 25. So it was interesting to see that there was just no rhyme or reason to the radon test results.
So next door neighbors could have completely different results.
Completely different results. And so it doesn't necessarily matter where you are, and that levels might be high. with your neighbor across the street, your levels might be just fine. Recently, I worked with a family, and their levels came in at 125 picocuries.
Oh.
And that's
so what's that,
really
like 10
high.
packs of cigarettes a day?
Yeah, it'd be about 12.
So roughly 10 picocuries equals 1 pack of cigarettes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And yet, so the neighbors really rallied around them and also wanted, of course, to test their homes.
Labs.
Right. I mean,
and see.
you could hire someone who has a continuous radon monitor. I mean, if they're, like I said before, calibrating that every year, that's going to be pretty darn accurate. If you live in Davis County, their health department actually will come out and test your home with a continuous radon monitor. It does take about 2 weeks to get on their list and actually have them come out and test for you, but that is a possibility.
So you're specifically, are you for the whole state or just for a county?
State.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then each county kind of administers their own radon plan?
Correct. So each county has their own radon program. And so on a more hands-on approach, they're out there working with their residents within their county.
Any words of parting wisdom? Get your home tested. Anything else?
Tested. That would be it.
Awesome. Well, again, we have free tests. If you would like a free radon test, give us a call at 801-674-9995. We'll mail you out a free test, or text the words free radon test to 801-674-9995. We've got also informational pamphlets about radon. And great resources here. We've been talking with Elanor Divver. She's a professor up at the University of Utah and also works for the state in the radon department. So great to have you on the show. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much.
We've learned so much. This is our show is all about bringing on local professionals and putting you in touch with those professionals that can help you with these important transactions in your life, help you set up a great foundation for you and your family and for your future. We're all about saving you money, helping you invest those savings, and helping you make money on those investments. Your home, your real estate, your finances, these are all hugely important to your future, and that's what we're here for. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM. Right now, thanks for your patience. We've got a free lunch giveaway today, and the free lunch giveaway for today is to Chipotle. Chipotle was started in 1993 by a man named Steve Ells, and he's a big advocate of naturally raised animals. The Chipotle menu consists of a delicious variety of tacos, burritos, salads, and more. And you can customize your meal to tantalize your taste buds. It's ultra customizable there. Free lunch giveaway today is to Chipotle. I love the steak burrito there. There's several locations around the valley. You can visit them on their website at chipotle.com. If you're interested in the free lunch to Chipotle, give us a call at 801-674-9995 or text the words free lunch to 801-674-9995. We'll get you and hook you up with that free lunch to Chipotle. It's actually good for 4 burritos, so you get some bang for your free lunch today at Chipotle. I've got a new listing. My name is Clint Womack with Vintage Realty. We've got a new listing now in Pleasant Grove, and our earlier guest on the show, Kyle Aiken, actually took the photos of that listing, and they turned out great. New listing at 500 South Valley View Drive out in Pleasant Grove, 1956 square feet, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, a large bedroom, nice backyard, and a deck in the back. It's been on the market for a couple days, and that home's listed for $199,000. We've got another new listing on the market. It's at 1629 East Crescent View Circle. That home is listed for $550,000 out in Sandy in the Sunrise Valley subdivision. That home is listed by Windermere Real Estate. And one of our last new listings that we're showcasing today is at 1798 East Millbrook Road in Salt Lake City. That's in the Millbrook subdivision. That home is listed for $799,000 and is listed by Kirkham Real Estate. We're We're so grateful that you've joined us on the show today. We've got a great show planned for you next week. We've got Deborah Bigler with Local Credit Repair Company, and then Gordon Brown, who does insurance and all types of planning for companies. He helps them set up their 401ks, their insurance plans, retirement plans. Wealth of information on the show next week. I wanted to close the show today by talking about a motivational seminar that I went to this week. It's by a guy named Weldon Long. People call him Wally, and just an incredible story. He talked about the power of consistency and mindset, and he was basically in jail from the ages of 22 to 40. He was in and out of jail for 18 years for doing stupid stuff. But when he was in jail, his father passed away, and it was kind of like a wake-up call to him that he needed to get his life in order. And he started reading some really good literature. He read by Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and just ended up turning his life around in prison. He wrote letters to his 3-year-old son. He wrote letters once a week. And just a powerful story about the power of consistency and how powerful our minds are. If you can get in the right mindset and keep that mindset, your mind can ultimately turn your thoughts into actions. Whenever we think something, our mind secretes chemicals, usually either dopamine or epinephrine. And those chemicals in turn release emotions. And then those emotions can influence our actions. So your mind is so powerful. And if you can get your mind focused on the things that you want to accomplish, you can do amazing things. If you'd like more information, or if you'd like to talk about the seminar, I'd be happy to discuss it with you. I have some information that I picked up there. Give me a call anytime at 801-674-9995. I'm here for you. I'm your local advocate for real estate and finance. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker.
The sky was red, fire on the mountain, she said. Well, I'm not the one who burned it down. So she went and chased those flames high upon that smoky range. She would come down, but I couldn't change.